Are we rolling?
Yep, it's rolling.
Give me your full name.
Johnny Sullivan.
Johnny Sullivan. Johnny, let's talk about what you're doing here this year at the Apollo Theater and for Apolloween. Tell me about your role, and then I want to go back and I want to hear some backstories on what you're bringing to the table.
All right. Well, my goal was to really help Jen out and get Apolloween back and coming back. So Apolloween, hasn't happened in a few years as a full program. So one of the things on the plate is bringing back the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I used to participate in, even here at the Apollo years ago in the 90s when I was still in my teens, maybe even up to early 20s. I'm not sure.
So you have a history with the Apollo as well?
Yes, yeah, and with that particular show. So with it having been running a few years, we have to recast for this year. Of course, it needs a stage manager, and so basically I'm just willing to go in wherever needed. I do have a diverse background in film and theater, so wherever I fit in to bring that program back is where I'll end up.
How did you get involved in this year's Apolloween? How did you hear about it, and how were you invited to be part of what they're going to do in 2021?
Honestly, it was a really strange, well, not strange, it was just through a random occurrence of events. I am about to purchase a large property and move to it. That's out, not in a city municipality, but out in the county with no zoning.
In Berkeley County?
No, I will not be in Berkeley County.
Where's
Hardy County.
Hardy County, West Virginia. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So about an hour 15 down the road. But a nice large property, well over 100 acres, and I was thinking of putting a haunt there. And then a friend of mine, Matt Burns, started getting me involved in talking to people who were interested in doing haunts, which he had me talk to Jen, and she was, kind of a unique opportunity because I've never ran a haunt. She's trying to bring the one back to the Apollo this year.
For a layperson, someone who's not familiar with the word haunt, explain what that is. And I mean, for the audience for the past few weeks have been hearing about haunt. What is a haunt? What do you mean by that?
Well, a Halloween themed or any type of theme that you would typically see during Halloween season. So like a haunted attraction, as like Disney World has the Haunted Mansion, that could be considered corn mazes, straw bale mazes. Typically, most of them usually just run through the Halloween season. But if you've ever been to a large beach town, they have them that run year round. And
have
horror.
You done these haunts before, and which ones have you been?
As a child, I worked in one at Harper's Ferry. I did this one at the Apollo maybe 20 years ago, before Jen Roberts' time. So, still in high school at that time as well. And other than that, no, I've never worked in one.
So this will be good experience for what you want to do in Hardy County, West Virginia. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as I know right now, they're still looking on the correct proposal for somebody to partner with the Apollo, or if they get the right group to essentially run it again as the Apollo. And that we should know in a couple of weeks. They're really pushing for that to happen, so we should know who it's going to be and what it's going to be called and what days it's going to run.
Let's talk a little bit about horror, okay? Is it horror films that you became interested in? What is it about horror that would have you commit to coming out on your weekends and giving up your weekends to do this manual labor to create this haunt? So what are some of your favorite horror films? What genres speak to you? What got you involved in that?
Well, years ago, when I was fresh out of stunt school, I did a couple of nice large productions, but there was a lot of direct-to-video independent horror going on at the time, which gave me the opportunity to become a stunt coordinator at a relatively young age. So I did a lot of the, relatively you call them low budget or modest budget, you know, in the $20,000 to $50,000 price range that were direct to video for companies like Maverick and you know, distribution companies like that at the time in the 2003 to 2012 timeline, which a lot of that's disappeared, but always had a good time on those, working on those shows. But my main thing here would just be getting back, since I'm sort of leaving the film world after, you know, 20 years. Living in a hotel gets old. I took a year off and before COVID, and then with COVID, I really realized that I'd like to stick at home now and slow down. So the Apollo in and of itself will give me a creative outlook or a creative outlet for that. So, because I would like to intend to get more involved with their stage shows as far as set design and set construction, which, you know, will give me an outlet for that creative side, and then I'll just work close to home and not be traveling all the time.
Do you live in Berkeley County?
Currently, yes.
All right, let's talk about the larger vision of what you guys have planned for this year's Apolloween, and we'll talk a little bit about the program that's coming up, then I got one follow-up question. Okay,
so this year's Apolloween, like I said, you know, there's a big push to bring it back right now. Depending on how you feel about things currently going on in the world and in the country, there has been some mention of it through the board of, you know, the possibility of this variant D coming with restrictions again, which, you know, nobody really knows, but we've never really in my lifetime not had these restrictions, and we just had them here in the state of West Virginia for 9 months. So right now, the goal of Apolloween is to begin marketing with the intention to run it. Jen is working as hard as can be to bring everything back. We pretty much, you know, they have agreed to pay the royalties and everything for Rocky. So Rocky's coming back. They've got their movie selected for the children's movie that they do. What's the other event? There's another event.
The paranormal.
Oh, yes, the paranormal investigations. And then, you know, the push and the desire to bring back the haunted theater, or the haunted theater or haunted attraction somehow, under some format.
And then my last question is, I want you to share with us your relationship and friendship with Matt Burns, how you guys got together, how you met. As it seems that here we are giving up this is my third Saturday night in a row.
Right.
And it always seems to be Matt Burns that, you know.
Doesn't make it, yeah, it's another show. He was here last night, but I think he'll be here next Saturday night also. Or he has said he has. But, you know, Matt Burns is actually getting ready for a show that he's doing in Waynesboro, Nightmares on Main Street, which happens in 2 weeks.
You're going to be there for that?
Probably not, because depending on what's going on here, I'll be here, which is fine. I may go to that. I'm not sure. So, how did I get to meet Matt Burns?
How did you guys meet?
Really through local music years ago. He promoted a lot of local music. I had several friends that were in indie metal bands, and just through that, when I moved to Australia to go to school and in California to work as a stunt performer, he started attempting to run a convention, and he asked if I would come be a guest. Of course, that first year convention, that was back in 2013, it never came to fruition, but then the following year, I co-produced Halloween Fest with him. Co-produced and co-promoted that event down in, what town in Virginia was it? It wasn't Leesburg. Oh man, it was my event, and I can't even remember the town. Fredericksburg. I was down in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and pretty sure it was Fredericksburg. If I'm wrong, it's, but so that was 2014, and then Matt has continued to do conventions, which I've always supported him in, and you know, we've maintained a friendship through over the last 7 years. And when, like I said, when I decided that I was going to buy that large property and consider putting a haunted attraction on it, he started introducing me to people and bringing me back in the fold.
All right, I'm good. I don't have any other follow-up questions, but I want a picture for Facebook.
Sure. Was that good?
Yeah, you were awesome, dude.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Say whatever you got or whatever you want to say.
Promote it.
Oh, yeah. No, I still strongly support the West Virginia Film Office as well, although we no longer have it. It's currently not an entity. but there are some people working to bring it back. I wear this hat every day out of, darn it. It's been a long day. It's been a really long day. Protest. I wear my hat out of protest because of my disappointment with it being disbanded. And it's been 3 years since we had a film office, and I'm really eager to see it come back. And there is a group of people that are working to make that happen.
Did you get it?
Yep.
All right.